I hate roundabouts.
Awful things. Don't know why they were. Why were they invented?
I don't know. Do you know how big? Have you been to America?
Never ever.
Do you know how big America is?
Massive.
Massive is the only word for it.
Yeah.
Do you know how many miles and miles and miles of roads and lanes and highways they've got?
Trillions.
Trillions. Route 66 could go, if you unravelled Route 66, it could go the length of a whole man's intestines.
Really?
Or is it the other way round? I think it's the other way round.
I was going to say.
Yeah, damn that record breakers.
That's about 10 minutes away.
Because, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I really got that. I was working at a tennis tournament called the Stella.
Yeah.
And Sporting Index rang me up.
Right.
And they said, what is the gap between the event and your television pictures?
Yeah.
And I said, it's a millisecond, I think. They said, can you find out? Seriously. So I said, all right. Because what they tried doing was betting ball by ball.
Right.
And some bloke, apparently there on the end of the line in Bangkok, was being uncannily good.
Yeah.
All right. So they were checking that it wasn't a delayed transmission. Because not long ago, this used to happen quite a lot, and quite a lot of bookies got stung.
Yeah.
The BBC very often used to show a sporting event as live.
Yeah.
But in fact, it could be 5, 7, and on one occasion, 15 minutes
behind.
Late. You're behind. Yeah. Because there was a US Open golf tournament at which the finalists were Greg Norman, Larry Mize, and one other geezer.
Yeah.
And a chap in Reigate phoned his stockbroker friend in Long Island, and they talked about a deal. And so then the English guy said to the American, and who do you think's going to win the playoff between these three guys? And the American went, you're joking? And he went, no. He said, you're joking? Larry Mize, I'm looking at Larry Mize on the TV now. He is holding the trophy. So the English guy went, thanks, right. Phoned his bookie. He said, you know this playoff that's about to take place? And the bookie went, yeah. He said, what price is Larry Mize? He said, oh, he's the outsider of the three. We've got him at 7-2. He said, I'll have 20 grand.
I'll take him, yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, that's
They can't stop you pronouncing something how you want.
Advertisement.
Oh, you can say that.
I like saying that.
Schedule, tomato. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like the Monty Python interview where he says, I'm joined in the studio now by Mr. Luxury Yacht. And the bloke goes, no, my name's not Luxury Yacht. He says, I'm sorry. I'm joined in the studio now by Mr. Luxury Yacht. Do you know this one?
I think so. I don't remember it.
Well, in that case, you don't have to laugh. And he goes, no, my name is spelt Luxury Yacht, but it's pronounced Throat Warbler Mangrove.
Yeah, I do remember it.
And there's nothing you can do to stop anybody. You can,
Yeah.
Anyway, so make one inquiry. What?
I think.
My God, it was a butcher. That's just a stranger job. Cutting up animals. What do you do for 40 years, young man? Now you're at the pearly gates. I cut up animals with cleavers. Come in. Have you seen that clip on a local regional TV news programme called, I think, Look East from Norwich?
No, I haven't.
When Giant Haystacks, do you remember him?
Yes, I did. That was a bit of an abomination, actually. I mean, that was a joke. They're wrestling. They weren't athletes.
Yes, I'm telling a story. Shut up.
Sorry.
Okay. Do you not know when I'm telling a story? Oh, it was obvious. Hey, look, so Giant Haystacks, right, is in the studio, and he's being interviewed by one of those typical interviewers that you get on regional TV.
Right.
Little fellow in a suit. And the little fellow in the suit kind of made a remark to suggest that wrestling was not all that it appears to be.
Mm-hmm.
So Giant Haystacks said to him, and it was obviously being pre-rehearsed, he said to him, well, I'll do a little wrestling move on you. You see? And they'd obviously pre-rehearsed the headlock or something.
Okay.
But what Giant Haystacks did was he bent down and he picked this man up, right, by the throat, lifted him 9 feet in the air, and slammed him down on the concrete studio floor on his back. The poor fella was in agony.
Right.
And It proved nothing, but it was just nice to see regional television presenters being treated appropriately, I thought.
Right, I see. Well, I mean, my point was that, you know, wrestling...
It's quite a funny story, actually.
Beats the usual cat in the tree story, doesn't it, really?
I've never heard any... I've never told it to anybody and they went, right, anyway.
Well,
you know, like Egyptian mummies got things buried with them.
Yeah.
For the afterlife.
Like in Scooby-Doo, yeah.
What would you take?
This is like the Desert Island question, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a much better version of Desert Island Discs. It's a fantastic show, and Nick Hancock could host.
Great.
Great!
He needs it.
He needs it. And it's all the things that celebrities... No, not celebrities. I hate celebrities. Who is that girl who does You've Been Framed?
Oh, don't... Yeah.
What is that all about? How does that work? I don't get that. Why wasn't there a furore or whatever when Jeremy Beadle got...
Because he was very good at the gig.
I thought he was very good at the gig. It suited him. And why do so many American bridesmaids and wives faint at the altar?
Yeah.
Are they drunk? Or is it nerves? Or is it a Mormon thing?
I don't know.
I don't know. Where were we?
Where were we?
Oh, what you'd bury with yourself.
Yeah, so basically, what were you...
I would take a tape of calls like that.
Yeah. I would take my best punk rock in the world, best punk rock album in the world ever.
Which is?
CD with me.
Which is what?
It's just that.
Oh, it's a collection?
Yeah. That's what I'd take to my grave.
What's it got by the Sex Pistols on it?
Anarchy.
Fantastic. Although I like Rock Around the Clock. Because it was very professional.
Very good, yeah.
Very professional.
The
Very
rock and
professional.
roll swindle, yeah.
Who else is on it? Stranglers?
Stranglers are there.
What have you got on that?
All the greats are there.
No More Heroes?
Grip on Yourself, I think.
Oh, yes. I like No More Heroes. Are you an expert on punk?
Yeah.
Right. No More Heroes.
Agreed
Okay.
on the subject.
Whatever happened to... Come on.
The
heroes.
Yeah.
Poor old Lenin and Sancho Panza and Leon Trotsky. He got an ice pick. And then what's the next one?
And I couldn't tell you.
It's a name I've never heard. It's like Mario Lanza or something.
Did you like the Stranglers? Did you think they were one of the best?
Oh, they were the best.
You
Stranglers. Sex Pistols my favourite band, and followed by the Stranglers.
Why she always is?
I asked Blondie to marry me, and she said yes.
First Madonna, now it's Blondie.
I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. She didn't mean it.
Well,
Then I didn't really mean it either.
you can't say that and not tell me the story.
That was just that for years I told myself that if I ever met Debbie Harry, I'd ask her to marry me, just because you should do. You should.
Can't see it.
You should say to people that you've always wanted to meet exactly what you've always wanted to say to them. So I said to her, will you marry me? And she said, I will. And it was a good moment.
Nice.
Yeah. She's very pretty.
Was it a gig or something?
Well, it was down the phone, actually. She was in Massachusetts, so she didn't have a lot to go on. She did say yes. Where have we got to? You're beautiful. There's been nothing... Today's youngsters are not offending me with their music, and I want them to.
Oasis don't offend, do they, really?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. There's been nothing with that impact. You're dead right. You're dead right.
Right from Mick Jagger and indeed before that. Even Cliff Richard offended a lot of little old ladies with his gyrating hips and what have you.
Gyrating hips and big lips.
Big lips. On Talksport.
Good morning,
Who's this?
Stuart.
Hi, Stuart.
The suggestions I'd like to take to grave.
Right.
How about photographs of Margaret Thatcher along with her novels for reading, and a tape recorder to listen to Phil Collins.
Okay. Is that it?
Isn't that enough to keep going?
Well, I can't see Lord Carnarvon risking his life to uncover your tomb,
Why?
to be honest.
Why?
Why?
I think it's excellent choices.
It was not.
Why? What's wrong with them?
Well, there's no gold leaf there, or, the sarcophaguses, according to Eric von Daniken, contained, the earliest pacemakers.
Well, what's a radio reception like 6 foot under? If I want to take a radio as well.
Do you know, it's a question I don't know the answer to, but I know Peter does. Peter?
It's a very good question, isn't it?
Can corpses listen to this show?
Yeah.
It was quite good fun. Do you remember the Housewives Hour, which was quite good fun? Where we used to compare notes on how to iron?
I remember one in particular.
Which one was that?
Lady who insulted you very much about being an older father. Yeah, I felt the same with you that day.
I wouldn't worry too much.
No, I'm sure not.
It's all good knockabout theatre.
I imagined it was very much the same as when you tried to break into television, that you kept knocking on doors, and...
No, I applied for a job and got it.
Did you? Straight away?
Boom. Absolutely. I've never been rejected for anything.
Haven't you?
No. Not even by a woman. But that's because life's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that's what I decided. Morning. I'm Tommy Boyds. This is Talksport. Switchboard's open. We're talking sport, we're talking news, talking current affairs, talking about whatever you want to talk about. 08700 40 50 60. The email machinery's up and running. tommy@talksport.co.uk. I brought the lights up slightly in the studio. I'm wearing my pirate shirt, which is fantastic, because there's nothing better for the soul than going, ha-ha! Try it. It is really, to be a pirate. I said to Ian Botham once, what would you have been if you hadn't been a cricketer? And he came straight back at me. He went, I'd have been a Viking. And he would too.
And he looks like one.
He would have been a Viking. Yeah. Ian Botham, Viking.
Bit of rape, bit of pillaging. He would have been happy on a Saturday afternoon.
Me, I'd have loved to have been a pirate. Because that's my favourite joke.
Go on.
Now, I don't do jokes anymore because they're tedious. But this joke, when I heard it, made me laugh more than any other joke I've ever heard, and I've heard thousands, and I've told thousands, right? But it's a bit difficult for you, because if I tell you a joke, you're going to think, I've got to laugh at the end of this. So can you clear your mind of that, all right?
Right.
Don't think there's any obligation on you to laugh, right? A man, and yes, he is Irish, goes into an optician's. And the optician sits him down, and he says, cover your right eye. Do you know this one?
Not yet.
Right. He says, cover your right eye with your left hand and read those letters. And the Irish gets he goes, left? And the optician goes, all right, never mind. Cover your left eye with your right hand and read those letters. And the optician goes, left? My hand? And he covers both, and you have a lot of trouble with this. So the optician snaps, and he goes, wait there. And he goes out the back, and he gets a box of Kellogg's cornflakes, and he empties all the cornflakes out, and he cuts a single eye hole in the box, and he comes back in, and he sticks it over the Irishman's head. So he's just got the one eye. And he's about to say, do you know it?
Nope.
He's about to say to him, read those letters on the board, when the Irishman starts crying. Blubbing. His shoulders heaving. Like that. And the optician says, what's the matter with you? And the Irishman says, he says, sorry, it's a good joke. The Irishman says, I've spoiled it now. The Irishman says, sorry, I can't get there. Oh, no. The Irishman says, oh God. The Irishman says, I was hoping I'd get a gold-rimmed pair like my brother.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cracking?
That's very good.
You see, it's beautiful. Because, the whole imagery of the gold-rimmed pair. There's nothing wrong with his eyes, he just wants a pair of glasses. Because his brother's got a pair of glasses. And they're gold-rimmed. And that's what he wants. That's funny in itself. But the idea that he'd think he was getting a box of Kellogg's corn... Oh, gee. I'm sorry, I think that's the most beautiful joke.
Simple.
I've ever heard. And I make no apologies for the fact it's an Irishman, because every Irishman I've told it to...
Laugh. Yeah.
Oh, loved it. Lapped it up. Where were we? And, he made a couple of comments about my eyes, because I've got a scar on one eyeball, bit of metal. And I said, oh yes, I remember that. I said, a bit of metal got stuck in there. And you know what he did? In order not to pursue it, because he didn't want to get bogged down in the conversation, he just went, no comment. Oh, like that, which I've never had conversations before. And then I said to him, yes. I said, funny thing was, we didn't realise there was a bit of metal in there until it started to rust. That's true, in my eye. It rusted. And we saw the red, the ferrous. And that's when we went to hospital, and they got it out with a magnet. So I was about to tell him that, and he just went, no comment. Like that.
Now, is he trying to say I'm not interested, or is he just trying
I think he's trying to say, look, I'm here to do a job, I don't want to chat.
Yeah, I don't want to know about your eye problem.
Because everybody must want to chat when they go and see the opticians.
In the same way everyone who goes to the dentist starts telling them about how their teeth are
I think that's why they get that thing in there.
Yeah, sorry. Just shut you up, yeah.
Johnny. 08700 40 50 60. Email tommy@talksport.co.uk. Morning, line 3. You're on Talksport.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, Tommy, I want you to clear something up for me, please.
Okay.
About a year ago, did you do some co-commentary on a football match for one of your rival stations? On a football match being an international Scotland match? It's just I've got a further thing to ask.
Well, I think
depending on your answer.
Yeah, is it that bit where the BBC rang me up thinking I was a Scottish international footballer called Tommy Boyd?
Yeah, basically, my friend reckoned, I didn't believe him, but my friend reckoned that they meant to get Tommy Boyds, the Scotland fullback.
They did.
As a co-commentator, but they got you instead. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
So did you actually go through with the 90 minutes commentary?
No, they realised after about 3 minutes that I wasn't an Scottish international footballer.
But surely enough, you must have turned up at the station or whatever, at the ground or whatever.
No, they had me at home.
Ah, see, I'm with you.
What had happened was this, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'd written a paper about junior football, which had gone to the Minister of Sport, Tony Banks, and David Mellor, who worked at this radio station.
Yeah.
Then 2 days later, I got a phone call from this radio station asking me if they could telephone me for my expert views just before the England International, which was due to be happening the next day.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be talking about that paper.
Right.
And it had been passed on to them. So I agreed. So then they phoned me up, and they, without any sort of warning, they phoned me up, and all of a sudden I'm talking to the presenter who says, so what do you think of England's chances today? So I just answered the question like you would. And it went on for about 5 minutes. And then he said, anyway, what about Scotland? So I said, well, I don't know, I'm not that bothered. Scottish football's pretty sort of tame.
Yeah.
And then there was a pause. That was when he thought, that's a bit controversial. For, like, Scotland's best-known defender to be saying that Scottish football's a bit average.
Yeah.
And just dropped me. I got a phone call later from the control of the radio station apologising, but...
Yeah, it's just my friend actually reckoned it was on the text at the time and that. And I couldn't believe that somebody at the BBC can make such a mistake,
Well, we've got the same name.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah, but you haven't got a Scotch voice, have you?
I must admit, I would have thought they would have spotted sooner.
Did you not fancy going along with it? I mean,
I did, but I wouldn't cause problems for any fellow professional. I wouldn't cause problems for anybody. If I'd realised before I got to air that what was going on, then I would have said. Because having a sense of mischief is one thing, but you don't want to land some poor bloke in it, do you? I wouldn't.
Well, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, Tommy.
Well, it is, but for the sake of a giggle, I wouldn't want to queer somebody's career. Not that it would have come to that, because it's a harmless thing. I was a bit disappointed that they didn't deal with it with a sense of humour. Instead of laughing about it, they sort of all got flustered.
Yeah, well, that's the beeb for you, though, isn't it? Really?
You're absolutely spot on there, mate.
Yeah. Okay, just clarified my answer.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Hang loose. What a nice man. What a very, very nice man. And you're very resistant to having for us talking about how you think about these things.
No, not at all. I was rather, I said how I thought myself and how somebody presume how I think.
Right, but you spend time thinking about what might happen if somebody broke into your house?
No, because my house is secure, but I would like to think if somebody did break in...
In securing your...
Have you got a lock on your front door?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Not a bolt or a door handle anywhere?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I find it hard to believe.
Don't you call me a liar?
I'm not. I said I find it hard to believe.
Sorry. Well, why?
I chose my words carefully.
No, you haven't. You've called me a liar.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you have.
Well, could you explain why you don't have a lock on your door?
Because I trust people. And I don't have your fears. And I don't want them.
You insinuated this earlier, that people were afraid of dying.
No, I didn't. Well, no. I mean, yes, people are afraid of dying. Of course.
Some people are afraid of dying.
Well, I don't meet anybody who isn't.
I'm not afraid of dying.
No, of course you're not.
No, I'm not.
No, of course you're not. I said, of course you're not.
I wish I had the guts sometimes to make it happen.
Well,
on occasion.
That sentence doesn't really work, does it?
Why doesn't it work? If I had the guts, I may not be here now, but I have never had the guts. And some people find it equally as hard to exist as they do to be frightened.
I didn't understand that. I'm sorry.
Fear is a phobia. Fear is something that might happen to you.
Well, we know that.
And it's irrational usually, isn't it? Because everything's done on ratio. The chances of this and the chances of that.
What happens when you get a diet of the news, and I'm sure you keep up to date with things that are going on, don't you?
Yes, I listen to your programs, yes.
When you keep up to date with things that are going on, you hear about murders, and you hear about terrible things, and you hear about issues like immigrants, which concerns you, and you form views about the justice system, because the kind of cases that you read about and you get to hear about are cases where apparently judges have delivered ludicrous verdicts, allowing criminals to walk scot-free, etc., etc. And, you know, it calls for an enormous mental effort to realise that although the news is saturated with such things, it never happens to you or anybody that you know.
It does happen to people that I know. I really think I'm qualified in what I'm saying to you.
Well, all I will say to you is...
And I would suggest very, very politely that you perhaps do put a lock on your door for safety's sake, because there are people out there who are not as rational as you.
I won't do that, and I simply won't do that. I simply won't do that.
Do you lock your car door?
Never.
I'm astounded.
Good.
Would you think your insurance companies would pay out if you lost anything?
I don't want to share your thoughts.
Are you insured?
They're negative.
They're not. They're realistic.
No, darling.
This nicely old ladies have their videos and television stolen when they're on pension, and they're paying for it for 2 years afterwards. They've not had it because it's been sold in some car boot sale somewhere. And their meagre pensions, they're paying the money that they...
What I see all around me is people who are frightened. People who are not having good lives.
Oh, and that may be because of the media that's bringing it into our homes. Perhaps that's something to do with it.
That's my point.
Perhaps it's more graphically exposed now than it used to be.
That is my point. That's precisely my point, what you've just said.
But that doesn't mean to say that I'm not open-minded and I can't decide what should be news and what should be glory-seeking, and there's no for the media. The media will generally, as a whole, I would say, go for the bit that's going to bite with the public. The gory details.
Yes, if it bleeds, it leads. That's my point. That is my point.
Yes.
You agree with me?
Totally.
There you are. You haven't got anything worth nicking, really, have you?
No, nothing.
Nor have I.
Nothing, but I would like to see...
Nor have I.
I would like to see my elderly father shaken up and battered and bruised, lying on the floor in his place, whether he got stuff stolen or not.
But why have that thought in your mind?
Because he has been burgled. And he's got a dog with a sign saying beware the dog, and the dog's as deaf as a post, and it wouldn't make any difference, but it gives him reassurance. That's fear. Might be irrational, but it's fear. This
is what I'm talking about. You can control it. You can get rid of it. If if you
Some
die...
people can, some people can't.
Yeah, you're frightened of dying.
No, I'm not.
But you said you didn't have the guts to do it. I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense. What you just said, two things that don't actually add up.
Because it would hurt people, I think, around me. There's some
Well, in that case, then you are frightened of dying, whatever the reason.
No, I'm not frightened of dying or being dead, because... I'm frightened of hurting those around me.
But again, look, so what is fear? Define fear. Fear in your case, fear in this case, is a rush to identify a negative outcome.
There's nothing negative about death. It's pretty positive.
Oh, God. All right, look, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree. Because you're not playing this game with me, which is trying to get somewhere. You're trying to confound the conversation.
No, I'm not. I'm giving my...
No, you just did it then.
I'm allowed to say my bit, surely. It's not a one-sided conversation.
Blimey, I didn't realise that was the time.
On the hour updates from the Sky News Centre on 9 and 10:53 a.m. Tommy Boyd on Talksport.
He's planted rice in the paddy fields of Thailand. He's seen the sunrise from the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's meditated within the ancient walls of Machu Picchu. He's got a Renault Turbo Sport and a TVR. He's got a huge bank balance. He could go out with any woman in the country. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a close personal friend of his family. He's been invited to the Prime Minister's house for drinks. He's the closest thing on earth to the angel Gabriel. He's Tommy Boyd.
I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talksport. We're talking whatever you want to talk about. We can talk sport, of course, talk the news, what's called current affairs, issues. And Tommy, I would like to make 3 points, which have been missed so far in this debate. 08700 40 50 60, or you can email tommy@talksport.co.uk. We'll go to line 3. Line 3, you're live on Talksport. Good morning.
Tommy and Timmy.
Boom!
Mallet Smollett.
Got him! Flushed him out. Ah. There's very little difference between the moronic listener and the black rhino. You know, they're both, got very thick hides and they're fairly stupid and vastly overvalued. Got very thick hides. Line 4. Good morning. You're live on Talksport. Whatever. Line 5, go.
Sorry, forgive me for phoning you again. I do love you, but why is your money in the bank? According to your jingle.
You're getting obsessive now, aren't you?
Right.
What's important to you?
Your happiness, my darling, your happiness.
I don't...
Your great entertainment.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe that.
Oh dear, don't ever doubt people, because that really
No, I don't doubt people. I doubt what you just said.
Well, I think you're very good on the radio. I enjoy listening to you. I wouldn't have you on, otherwise I've got a button here I can turn off. I'm quite discerning.
Yeah.
That's a compliment. You didn't answer me, why is your money in the bank, according to your jingle.
What are you trying to prove? That I should be scared?
Well, you're obviously frightened you'll lose it or something. Or you've got just so much you haven't got room in your house and there are knocks on the door. I don't know.
The thing is this. I realised at a very early age that I was going to have to work very hard not to be frightened of things. But every so often I meet people like you who seem to want other people to be as frightened as you are.
Oh, that's unkind.
That's how you seem to be.
So you don't believe that, because I spent my whole life trying to stop people being frightened.
But it's not working. You're talking about why people should be frightened too much. This is the caller who was on just before the news. And I don't think there's anything else we should really be talking about, because
that's okay.
I want to change, but I know where I'm going.
You're very presumptuous to think I don't know where I'm going.
I
would just like to see other people not afraid. That's all I'm saying. And the courts do not uphold the safety of people. But if they take away the right to defend themselves, why should we rely on some other...
What you don't understand, and what I don't think you will ever understand, is that whether or not you're frightened can be your choice.
Exactly.
It's got nothing to do...
That is the choice of the person that does, or somebody else does.
Yes, but look, this is nonsensical if you then say that it's down to the courts to decide whether or not the way in which they... No, let me finish, please, and listen to me. Because you've rung me. I haven't rung you. You've rung me.
That's correct, because I thought you would actually be civil. So please do be civil.
If I don't want to be civil, why should I be civil?
Why should you not be civil?
Why?
I haven't done anything to hurt you.
What? Because you're frustrating me, because you're not interested in listening to anybody.
How do you know that?
Because I'm having a conversation with you during which I'm trying to get you to listen. More than anything else.
The one thing about you is that you're very confident in the way you think you're always right. And I'm not saying you're not, but sometimes you could be slightly off the variant.
And let me tell you about yourself. You never listen to what other people are saying, because that is exhibited by the fact...
How long have you been on air tonight?
No, you're not listening, mate.
You have
you don't have... No, you don't listen, because whenever you hear a pause in the conversation... See, I'm being clever now, because you can't do it now, because I've pointed it out. Whenever you hear a pause in the conversation, you say something which changes the location of the conversation. So, nothing ever gets decided because you move it on.
Well, that's because it's my call to you, as you pointed out.
No, that's not true. I don't discern that. No, I don't discern that at all. I don't discern that at all. I don't think you really... I think what you want to do is sustain a piece of communication, not actually have a conversation.
I can live without talking to you, but I just thought I would like to pass comment tonight, and I have done. And whereas you've been on for a number of hours, and I have listened to you, because my call has been a very small proportion of that time, you are being very much patronising on the call. And that's not fair. If you're going to have a fair debate on something, be fair about it.
Well, wait a second.
Okay.
You listen to me very carefully.
Yes, sir.
Because I think I'm right in saying that you have fears.
I have some fears, yes.
Okay. And I think that those fears have been caused largely, but certainly in part, by the industry that employs me.
The welfare of my family.
Now, if I can just
possibly.
if I can just make a point, it's not important whether you agree with what I'm saying at this point. Okay?
Therein lies the rub, yes, go on.
No, because I'm not trying to persuade you, right, that I'm right. I'm only trying to show you what I think. Because what I think is how you're coming across to me. And that may be...
May I say something when you finished? Please, because that's why people don't let a space happen, because they're scared to be cut off.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm afraid you're going to be cut off now, because it's just not working. It's not, that I don't care. I think it's obvious that I care far too much, but it's not working because it's not a communication. And so it's frustrating, and it's strange, and it's annoying for people who are listening, because it's not getting anywhere, and it's not having a beginning and a middle and an end. What's it like? It's like some of those strange art films that you used to get, which start off nowhere, don't seem to have a thread, and then it's like those plays they used to have on the television that didn't have an ending. They didn't have a middle bit either. But there was no resolution, just suddenly there'd be credits.
Yeah, but it's fascinating.
Terrible stuff, balsa wood.
Isn't it better than wars and things like that? Finding out where where balsa wood comes from.
Absolutely. I'd far rather meet a man who knows the difference between lard and dripping and is interested in the derivation of balsa wood than somebody who hoards antique chests of drawers in his dishevelled farmhouse and sleeps with his boots on.
Well, someone's going to come and nick it, aren't they? And what's the point of that?
Well, what's the point of nicking? I mean,
That's
what's the point
right.
of having anything?
That's right.
Like I said the other week, you know, there's a man going to spend his life in prison and a 17-year-old boy dead, and this is all over an antique chest of drawers.
It's ridiculous.
Something's wrong.
It's probably got woodworm in it as well. That's the fascinating thing, woodworm, isn't it?
I like this man. If he was a woman, I'd be after him.
He's a bloke. You can sit in the pub and have a pint or three with him.
Oh, yeah.
Sit in a fight in a pub.
I ain't had a pint for about 3 months.
Rub it. Why's that? Is it your liver? Are we back to your liver?
No. It's just I'm a very busy person thinking about balsa wood and lard.
Yeah, but you can't be too busy to stop and have a pint.
Well, you'd be surprised at the old mate.
I'm never surprised.
I'm surprised you haven't typed balsa wood into a search engine to see what comes up.
That's an idea.
Because there's got to be some Anna out there.
It's fascinating. I've got to find out about it.
Yeah.
See if you let us know anyway.
Good luck.
Anyway, Tommy, all the best.
Very nice talking to you. What a nice man.
What a very nice man.
What a very nice man. Intelligent, good conversationalist. Very nice man.
Good butcher as well.
He stole my wine gums. Let me tell you my favourite story, right, about two Tibetan monks. This is a wonderful story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They were having an argument about smoking and their religion.
Mm.
And have I told you this?
Mm.
No. So they decided that they would get the abbot to settle the argument. So one of them went to see the abbot and he asked about smoking when you're praying. And he came away with a flea in his ear. So the other one said, I'll go. I'll ask. So he went and asked about praying and smoking. And he came away with a pat on the back. And so they sat down to compare why this was. And all it was the first one, who got a flea in his ear, had asked if it was permissible to smoke whilst you're praying. But the second one, who'd come away with a pat on the back, he'd asked whether it was permissible to pray whilst you were smoking.
Right. Don't think I get it.
Well, they were effectively asking the same question.
Oh, but they just asked it different ways.
Well, one appeared to be asking the question whether you could light up a cigarette whilst you're in the middle of a prayer.
All right.
The other one asked the same question, but by asking it slightly differently, asked whether it was possible if, whilst you're having a quiet fag, to additionally say a prayer. And it's the same topic, basically, and that is whether you can simultaneously, fulfill religious requirements and have a fag. But by simply tilting the question slightly, it completely inverts it, doesn't it?
So you're saying then you can basically follow the religion, but you don't have to follow it exactly.
You do what you do. You work it out for yourself because it's your journey.
I'm not actually particularly religious. I'm just quite interested in the kind of reincarnation kind of stuff, and it's quite interesting,
Oh, for sure. For sure.
It's been a good show tonight, by the way.
It has, hasn't it?
You've kept me awake all night
I'm
again.
very glad. My theory is that there's something in everything, but that no one thing explains everything. That's why when I hear that people are going to be Christians all their lives, and that's all because they were brought up on the Bible and that's it for them, I'm a bit disappointed because no one thing explains everything. But there is a little bit of truth in every single thing, and that includes atheism and agnosticism and Buddhism and everything.
No, I'm not really fixed on anyone. I'm not really much for Christian though, but Buddhism kind of calls to me a bit. It's kind of. I don't know, there's something about it. It's kind of interesting.
Well, you've got to suck it and see, haven't you? You never know. That might be the one for you.
Yes. Anyway, do you remember the last time I called?
I think I do.
No, you don't. Do you?
I think I do.
I was a nervous wreck.
Yes.
Gibbering.
Well,
gibbering away.
So was I.
No, you weren't.
No, I know.
And you never said I was a nice girl after
I'm
we
just being
got the phone in.
Well, I'm going to do it now.
I bet you're not going to mean it now, just because I've prompted you to say it.
No, I was going to say it anyway.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
I hope so.
I was. Go on, rush to the radio. You'll hear it.
Eh?
Yes.
I've got my personal stereo on, you see.
Oh, that's all right then. You'll hear it straight away.
Yes.
All right. Nice to talk to you this
yes,
time.
nice talking to you too.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
What a nice girl. What a very, very nice girl.
I don't think the horse enjoyed it because can you imagine having a saddle on your back with all that weight on you?
Well, I think it's more difficult being a human being, frankly.
More difficult being a human being than a horse?
Absolutely.
Well, it probably is, but what I'm on about is...
And who feels sorry for us? I mean, nobody feels sorry for me. I've never been in a minority group. I don't know what it's like to have humanity going, oh, poor old it. I'm not a woman, I'm not old, I'm not young, I'm not gay, I'm white, I'm able-bodied. You know, listening to me here, I'm not rich, I'm not poor, I'm right in the middle. I am one of the few people on planet Earth who has never had the campaign of well-meaning do-gooders saying that people ought to care about it. Now, horses do.
Well, I'm not on about...
You probably do. You're probably... Are you in a minority group?
I'm not... Well, I'm dyslexic. I mean...
Oh, fantastic. Well, you've got... There you are, then. You've got everybody's sympathy straight off, haven't you?
Well, not...
What does that feel like to have people caring?
I don't think the...
People caring about you?
It's, well...
That's feeling, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's nice that people do care about you and people want you to get on in life. But,
Is it nice feeling disadvantaged? Is that good?
It's terrible. Have you ever been... Well, by it sounds like you've never been disadvantaged. I mean, to be honest, I've been thinking...
Well, I've been disadvantaged because I've never had a bunch of people campaigning on my behalf. That's why I'm disadvantaged.
You're not disadvantaged in that way. I'm disadvantaged because... Right. How I rang up about was...
I'm proud of it. I'm disadvantaged.
You're not disadvantaged at all. You're very lucky.
No, you are. And you're quite chuffed about that.
I'm not chuffed about it at all.
It's a credential, though, isn't it? It's a credential.
No, why should it be a credential?
It's the way people use their minority
I've never used
status.
it. In all my life, I've never used this dyslexic thing against me at all.
Well, I'm not convinced about that, but anyway, carry on.
No, what's the name?
Horses are fine. Everything's got to die. You might as well die gloriously than in bed. How do horses die anyway? You don't see them keeling over, do you?
Oh, no.
They die horribly anyway. Do you know what? I had a racehorse, right? I had a racehorse, Dependable. He died of cancer. God killed Dependable, my Dippy. God killed my... Well, don't change the subject. My horse died what you would call naturally, a much more hideous death than if he'd fallen at a fence, mate.
Well,
how about that? Put that in your pipe. Tomorrow you're already dead in the water. You are trash. Human trash. Useless. Hopeless. Not a chance in hell, pal. Hey, what a lousy life you're having. I'm glad I'm not you. I'd rather be a racehorse than you. I'd rather be something that has been in a racehorse than you. It's kind of a sport in itself, isn't it, really? This sort of, this is a cross between bear baiting and sort of bare knuckle boxing. Fantastic. 08700 40 50 60. Waves penetrate the earth, and if so, to what depth?
No, I would think...
Because when we go under a tunnel, we lose it, don't we?
Yes, I would think not, because of that reason. What about in an aeroplane?
What about in an aeroplane?
Can we pick it up then?
Radio?
Yeah.
I've never tried.
Neither have I.
No.
Is it allowed? I don't think so. I doubt it. Because, you know, you're interfering with transmission waves and stuff.
Sorry, I can never get past the safety demonstration. It's always there for me.
It's a funny one.
It's an opportunity when you're invited to look at the whole of the body of a beautiful woman. Most times as a healthy young man. Well, in my case, young man. Well, no, just healthy. Well, no, just a man. You're not supposed to look at women.
Have you ever been in a situation where there's only a few people in your carriage?
Oh, and she's doing it for you.
2 people.
It's like lap dancing.
Me and one other.
What's this? Air Midland to Skye.
That was to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. And
yeah.
it's just a woman dressed in a tartan two-piece.
And yeah.
And she's pointing out the door.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.